I knew I was in trouble. It was the second week of camp, and I was standing in line for breakfast, still half asleep, when this boy walked past me and stole a piece of bacon right off my plate. And he just smiled at me, like it was totally normal to steal a stranger's bacon. His name was Leo, and he had this messy brown hair that always fell in his eyes and a laugh that made you want to laugh too, even if you didn't know why. I'm Isabel, and I was 16, and my parents had basically forced me to go to Camp Pinewood for the whole summer. 8 weeks. No phone, no internet, just trees and bugs and a lake that was probably full of leeches. I was not excited. I spent the first 3 days in my cabin, writing in my journal and counting down the days until I could go home. My cabin mates thought I was weird. They were probably right. But then there was Leo. Leo was a counselor in training, which meant he was 17 and thought he was very important. He was always running around with a whistle around his neck, organizing games and telling kids to be careful. I thought he was annoying at first. He was too loud, too happy, too everything. But then he stole my bacon and something shifted. The next day, I was sitting by the lake, trying to read a book, when he sat down next to me. Just plopped right down in the grass like we were old friends. "You're Isabel, right?" he asked, shielding his eyes from the sun. "Yeah," I said, not looking up from my book.
"I'm Leo."
Sorry about the bacon thing. I was really hungry. I finally looked at him. He had dirt on his cheek and leaves in his hair. He looked like he'd been wrestling a bear. "You look like you've been wrestling a bear," I said. He laughed. And that sound, that laugh, it did something to my stomach. Made it feel all fluttery. "Close," he said. "Capture the flag." The little kids got a little aggressive. And just like that, we started talking. We talked for hours that day. About everything. About nothing. He told me he loved camping, that he'd been coming here since he was 8. I told him I hated bugs, and that my mom made me come. He said maybe I just hadn't given it a chance yet. I said maybe he should mind his own business. But I was smiling when I said it. Over the next few days, we kept finding each other. At meals, he'd save me a seat. During free time, he'd find me by the lake. He taught me how to canoe, even though I almost tipped us over 3 times. He showed me the best spot for swimming, a hidden cove where the water was clear and cold. He made me try s'mores for the first time, even though I said I didn't like chocolate. Turns out I do like chocolate. I just thought I didn't. By the end of the first month, I wasn't counting the days anymore. I was wishing they'd slow down. One night, there was a campfire. The whole camp gathered around, singing songs and telling scary stories. I was sitting on a log, wrapped in a blanket, when Leo sat down next to me. He was so close I could feel the warmth of his arm against mine. "You cold?" he asked. "A little," I said, even though I wasn't really. He put his arm around me, and I leaned into him. It felt so natural, like we'd been doing it forever. The fire crackled and popped, sending sparks up into the dark sky. Someone was playing a guitar badly, and everyone was singing along. And in that moment, I felt something I'd never felt before. Like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. "Isabel," Leo whispered, his mouth close to my ear. "Yeah, I'm really glad you're here." I turned to look at him. His face was half in shadow, half lit by the fire. His eyes were so dark and so warm. "Me too," I said. And then he kissed me. It was soft and sweet and tasted like marshmallows. My first real kiss. And it was perfect. After that, we were inseparable. We were that couple at camp, the one everyone whispered about. We held hands on hikes. We snuck away during rest hour to be alone. We wrote each other notes and left them in secret places under a rock by the lake, in the hollow of an old oak tree. Every day was an adventure. Every moment with him felt like magic. He told me about his family, about how his parents were divorced, and he spent summers at camp to get away from the fighting. I told him about my parents, about how they were always working and never really saw me. We understood each other. We filled something in each other that had been empty for a long time. I remember this one afternoon, we were lying on the dock, looking up at the clouds. The sun was warm on our skin, and the water lapped gently against the wood. He pointed at a cloud. "That one looks like a dragon," he said. "No, it doesn't," I laughed. "It looks like a potato. A dragon potato. The most fearsome vegetable in the land." I laughed so hard I almost fell off the dock. He grabbed my hand to steady me, and then he didn't let go. We just lay there, holding hands, watching the clouds drift by. And I thought, this is it. This is what happiness feels like. But summer doesn't last forever. None of us wanted to think about it, but the end was always there, creeping closer every day. The last week of camp arrived too fast, like a wave you don't see coming until it crashes over you. We talked about what would happen after. He lived in a different state, hours away. We promised to call, to write, to visit. We promised it wouldn't end just because camp was over. We promised each other everything. The last night, there was a final campfire. Everyone was crying, hugging, saying goodbye. Leo and I walked away from the crowd, down to the lake. The moon was full, painting a silver path across the water. We sat on the dock, our feet dangling over the edge, not touching the water. "I don't want to go home," I said, my voice small. "Me neither," he said. "What if this doesn't work? What if we forget each other?" He turned to me, took my face in his hands. "I could never forget you, Isabel. Not in a million years." He kissed me, and it was different from before. It was sadder, desperate, like we were trying to hold on to something that was already slipping away. We stayed there for hours, talking, kissing, crying a little. We watched the sun come up, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. And then it was time. The bus ride home was the longest of my life. I sat by the window, watching the trees go by, holding the necklace he'd given me, a small wooden pendant shaped like a pine cone. He'd carved it himself. I wore it every day. For the first few weeks after camp, we talked all the time. Phone calls every night, texts all day. We made plans to visit. He was going to come see me in October. I was counting the days. But then something changed. The calls got shorter. The texts got fewer. He was busy with school, with friends, with his life. I was busy with mine. The distance started to feel real. Not just in miles, but in everything. One night, I called him, and he didn't answer. I waited an hour, 2 hours. He didn't call back. The next day, I texted him. Nothing. A week went by. Nothing. I was heartbroken. I replayed everything in my head, trying to figure out what I'd done wrong. Had I said something? Had I been too clingy? Too needy? I convinced myself it was my fault, that I wasn't enough. Weeks turned into months. I stopped checking my phone. I stopped hoping. I put the pinecone necklace in a drawer and tried to forget, but I couldn't. Every time I saw a lake, every time I smelled a campfire, every time I heard someone laugh like him, it all came rushing back. I went through that whole year feeling like a ghost. Like part of me was still at that camp, still sitting on that dock, still believing in forever. The next summer, my parents asked if I wanted to go back to camp. I said no. I couldn't. It would hurt too much. I stayed home, got a job at a coffee shop, and tried to move on. But I thought about him all the time. Years passed. I graduated high school, then college. I dated other people. I had other relationships. Some were good, some were not. But no one ever made me feel the way Leo did. No one ever stole my bacon and made me laugh so hard I thought I might burst. I told myself it was just a summer thing, that I was young and dramatic, and it wasn't real love. But deep down, I knew that was a lie. It was real. It was the most real thing I'd ever felt. Fast forward 10 years. I was 26, living in the city, working a boring office job. I had a tiny apartment and a cat named Pickle. My life was fine. Not great, but fine. I'd stopped thinking about Leo most days. He was just a memory, tucked away in a drawer like that pinecone necklace. One Saturday, my friend dragged me to a farmer's market. I didn't want to go, I wanted to stay home and watch TV, but she insisted. So there I was, walking through rows of vegetables and homemade soap, when I stopped at a booth selling wooden crafts. Little carved animals, bowls, jewelry. And there, sitting on a table, was a pinecone necklace. Exactly like the one Leo had given me. My heart stopped. I picked it up, my hands shaking. Do you like it? I looked up and there he was. Older, taller, a little stubble on his jaw. But those same dark eyes, that same messy hair. He was standing behind the booth, looking at me like he'd seen a ghost. Isabel, he whispered. I couldn't speak. I just stood there, holding the necklace, staring at him. He came around the booth, stood in front of me. It's really you. You sell these? I finally managed. He nodded. I started carving again a few years ago. It's my thing now. We just looked at each other. 10 years of silence hanging between us. Can we talk? He asked. Please? There's a coffee shop across the street. I should have said no. I should have walked away, but I nodded. We sat at a tiny table, cups of coffee growing cold between us. He started talking fast, like he was afraid I'd leave. I'm so sorry, Isabel, for how I ended things, for disappearing. I've thought about you every single day for 10 years. I wanted to be angry. I'd rehearsed this moment in my head 100 times. All the things I'd say, all the ways I'd make him hurt like I hurt. But sitting there, looking at him, the anger just melted away. Why? I asked. Why did you just disappear? He took a deep breath. My dad got sick, really sick, right after camp. I didn't know how to handle it. I stopped talking to everyone. I shut down. By the time I came out of it, months had passed, and I was too ashamed to reach out. I thought you'd hate me. I thought it was better to just let you move on. I didn't move on, I said quietly. Not really. His eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. I was a stupid kid. I made the worst mistake of my life. We talked for hours. He told me about his dad. He'd passed away a few years later. He told me about the years after, about how he'd traveled, gone to art school, started carving. He told me he'd never stopped loving me. And I told him about my life, about Pickle the cat, about the boring job, about all the relationships that never worked because I was always comparing them to him. I still have it, I said. The necklace. I put it in a drawer, but I never threw it away. He smiled, and it was the same smile from all those years ago, the one that made my stomach flutter. I never stopped thinking about you, he said. Every lake I saw, every campfire, every time I carved a pine cone, you were always there. We sat there until the coffee shop closed, and when we walked out into the night, he took my hand. It felt like coming home. That was 2 years ago. Now I'm sitting on a porch swing, looking out at a lake. Not the same lake from camp, but another one, a smaller one. Our lake now. Leo is inside, making dinner. I can hear him singing off-key, the way he always does. Pickle is curled up in my lap. We moved in together 6 months ago. It wasn't easy at first. We had 10 years of catching up to do, 10 years of hurt to work through. But we did it. We talked, we fought, we cried, we laughed. We built something new out of the old. I'm wearing the pinecone necklace. I haven't taken it off since that day at the farmer's market. Leo comes out, hands me a glass of lemonade. What are you thinking about? He asks, sitting down next to me. Summer camp, I say. Bacon thieves. He laughs, that same laugh. It still makes my stomach flutter. I'm glad you were at that farmer's market, he says. I'm glad you stole my bacon. He puts his arm around me, and I lean into him. The sun is setting over the lake, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. Just like that morning all those years ago. Life is funny. It takes you on detours, breaks your heart, sends you down roads you never expected. But sometimes, if you're lucky, It brings you back to where you belong. I was 16 when I fell in love with the boy who stole my bacon. I'm 28 now, and I'm still in love with him. It took us 10 years and a lot of pain to find our way back to each other. But we did. We found our way. And that's the thing about love. Real love. It doesn't go away. It waits. It hopes. It believes. Even when you don't. So if you're out there, nursing a broken heart, wondering if you'll ever feel whole again, hold on. Time does its thing.
People change.
Paths cross again. And sometimes the best love stories are the ones that take the long way home. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a boy to kiss and a sunset to watch.